What's good? Polyteco in the chat. I'm here with the one and only Wayne, Maori boy. Today we're going to talk about pretty much the transformation from being your typical Maori boy working a labor job to leaving his job and then moving to Australia. Right. So Wayne, introduce yourself, bro, and what's been popping lately.
Okay, well, obviously, my name's Wayen. I'm 20 years old from New Zealand. And before, jumping into the online space, I was working a planting job, just like a real physical laboring job, bro. And life before ABC was pretty much, it was real depressing, bro. I had no time to actually do anything that I wanted to, bro. Like things like gym, rugby. Yeah, I just had no time for any of it, bro. And
Mm,
and I feel like the fact that I had just no time to actually focus on those things, bro, it made me real fucking depressed, not gonna lie.
mm.
And it was mainly the fact that I wasn't able to train to my full potential and actually stay with rugby because that was my main passion at the end of the day.
Sure, bro. I know like, growing up in NZ as well, like, footy or footy in a sense is like the biggest thing in New Zealand, right? And when you're not able to train at your fullest, you kind of lose passion for it. Would you say you lost passion for the sport as well?
Yeah, 100%, bro. That's exactly what happened.
I mean, losing passion, bro, like I resonate with that a lot myself because I went down that pathway as well, lost passion for the sport. But I mean, like, what were you at before ABC? Like, run me through like a day in a life, run me through a normal day for you before ABC.
Yeah, okay, bro. So, yeah, I'd wake up every single day at 4 a.m. every single day. And then I'd work for 8 hours straight, get home knackered because, planting trees was one of the most physically challenging jobs. I'd be knackered and then no time for gym, go to sleep, pretty much wake up and then repeat.
Damn, right? That's pretty much every typical Māori boy, right?
Yeah,
You
pretty
work that hard labor job, you wake up early in the morning, go to work, come home, sleep, repeat. All right. So I mean, I guess outside of work, was there any life, were you able to kind of have a life outside of work?
Not at all, bro. I was just always living life on someone else's terms, going to sleep on someone else's terms, bro.
I guess what made you not want to do that anymore, bro? Like what made you not want to work on someone else's term and kind of have that ability to work in your own time and work in your own hours as well?
Yeah, I guess it was the fact that, there's lots of things, but no freedom. I wanted to work for myself, so I could structure my days how I wanted to.
Mm,
And most importantly, more time with my family. I guess the list just goes on and on, bro.
yeah. The list, we could talk probably about this on and on and on and on about, more time with family, more time for myself because like you said, bro, you'd wake up early, you go to work, you come home, sleep and repeat. Right. And all you wanted was to pretty much spend time with family. All you wanted to was, like you said, bro, you wanted to train, you couldn't even train. And it put you in a position where, you were depressed and wasn't the life you wanted to live. Right. So I guess, bro, why did you make a change? What ultimately made you want to like, okay, now, well, now I need to kind of make a change. What was it and why did you make that change?
Yeah. Yeah, so basically, bro, I had like a pretty rough upbringing, and the position that I was in, bro, it wasn't the position I wanted to be in for the rest of my life, bro. Shit household, bro. Yeah, it was basically just like living in the warps, bro. And I knew that, if I didn't do anything about my situation, bro, then nothing was actually going to change. It
Hmm.
was mainly about, building a better future, bro, so that my kids later on down the line don't have to go through the same thing that I went through.
A generational wealth, right? Some people don't even think that crazy in terms, they just think about themselves. But you talking about the situation you were in, the household you were in, you're kind of thinking beyond yourself. You know what I mean? So I guess, bro, on that topic, why did you join ABC? There's a million things out there. Why ABC? And what was it about ABC that made you want to choose ABC?
Yeah. The fact that there was mentors to actually help you, bro, because they'd be doing it for a long time. And that you can learn from their failures because they've got experience for days, bro. But
Mm,
I guess the main thing to me actually it was the community side of things. That's what really stood out to me. Making bonds with people that actually uplift you, bro, and just don't bring you down, pretty much.
mm. For sure, right? And the main thing is the community. Talk to the people, right? I know the people watching this, you would have seen my case study of one of my students, Lyric. Talk about the week that you just had with one of my students, bro.
Yeah, so about a week ago, I recently moved from New Zealand to Brisbane. And then fresh off the plane, I actually met up with the bro Lyric. And Yeah, I met him fresh into ABC, and ever since I joined, it was about 5 months ago, he's been holding me accountable every single day since then. Yeah, meeting up with him was just like the best experience in the world because we could just learn off each other, bro, bounce different ideas off each other, just basically push each other to become, the best versions of ourselves, bro.
For sure. And community is probably the biggest part is like you go from being on Zoom calls together to being together in real life. And then that's something you can't even explain, right? So I mean, like I know you talked about how you recently just from New Zealand. I mean, talk to the people about how ABC has helped you or your journey in the past 5 months, bro, from working, that labor job to 5 months later, you've moved out of New Zealand, you've made, probably over $5,000 in a single week to pretty much, right, moving to Australia, meeting up with people within ABC. I mean, talk about that crazy experience in itself in only 5 months, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically, I used to make $600 every single week, and that was it. Yeah, obviously, I got to a point where I made $5,000 in a single week. It was all through learning two high income skills, sales and marketing. And the good thing about that is it's skills that can pay me for the rest of my life, you know? I'm not just fucking sat here earning being a capped weekly salary of $600. And, it's changed me because, it's improved my communication skills. So I basically, I went from being a high school dropout to being someone who actually knows how to manage teams, learn skills, better my communication skills and actually get to a position where I can move from New Zealand to Australia, which is something a lot of people actually want to do. And not just that, I can travel wherever I want, bro. I've got the freedom to do whatever the fuck I want. Now I can train to my full potential, like what I said before.
Know at the start of the call, bro, you were talking about how, you weren't able to train to your full potential. You didn't have any freedom outside of work. It was just go to work, wake up, go to work, come home, sleep, right? That was the same cycle. And now, 5 months later, we went from making $600 a week to making $5,000 in a single week to moving from New Zealand to moving to Australia to meeting people within our community, and especially Lyric, one of my own students, is something that I guess it's really good to see that our community, it's proven, right? Someone who dropped out of high school was able to build a system, build a team, do learning these skills, was able to move from New Zealand, was able to make over $5,000 in a single week. So I guess for the people watching this, bro, I mean, talk to them about how 2 months you thought about not getting started. Right? I know a lot of people say, I need to think about it. I need to take time to think about it. But talk about those 2 months where you thought about it and were you in a better position or in the same position?
Yeah, so basically, I got to a point, where I wanted to actually give all this a go. But I mean, I just had the same thought pattern as everyone else out there. This is a fucking scam. I didn't believe in any of this shit. And then, yeah, like you said, I ended up waiting 2 months, bro. And then, yeah, nothing changed. I was in the exact same position. And yeah, I just basically wasn't going anywhere. And then, through work, all the challenges I was going through just constantly built up over time.
Talk to the people about, so for the people watching and for the ones who say I need to think about it, bro, what would your best advice be to those people who say I need to think about it before actually getting started?
Well, a lot of people who say they're just going to think about it, the main thing they're doing is just waiting for the perfect time. And to be honest, bro, that perfect time just doesn't fucking exist. Because if you're waiting for the perfect time to actually make a change, then you're just gonna be waiting your whole fucking life.
Mm,
So yeah, my best advice is just fucking do it. Just
mm.
fucking do it. That's all I can say.
And that's what every successful person says, right? It's the doers that get things done, and it's the talkers that wish they could get things done. You know what I mean? The thing I always say is shoot then aim, right? It's like you're shooting for the stars, and then you're aiming to kind of guide the rest of the way, right? So Mel has like that mindset instead of thinking about something, procrastinating and not getting it done, or like saying you'll do it later. How has the mindset of just getting it done and getting it out the way helped you, bro?
Yeah, so that mindset, bro, is just, it's helped me stop procrastinating. And I feel like procrastinating was the only thing holding me back. And then after I stopped doing that, I realized, how much time I had on my hands. Well, I feel like ever since adjusting to that sort of mindset, bro, I've been able to get so much more done in life, bro. Just stop procrastinating because I've got a thing, for a lot of people, procrastination is like the one thing holding them back. So as
Mm.
soon as you get rid of that and actually throw that out the window, bro, you're just going to see so much more change.
Facts, but I know one thing I always tell people is like perfection leads to procrastination, but progress leads to improvement, right? So the more you're progressing, the better you're becoming every single day is going to be better than trying to be perfect every single day. right? And 1% better is better than 0% in a sense, right? So, I mean, your story is inspiring, bro. Going from your typical Maori boy, and I know there's going to be a lot of Maoris watching this, going from making $600 a week to trusting and believing in yourself that if I get the right mentors, if I get the right community, and if I have the right teams in place to kind of get to where I want to be, it's possible, right? And you're a testimonial to that. Lyrics is testimonial to that. I'm a testimonial to that. So if you could leave the people off with, you know, one message or one thing to take away from this call, what would that be, bro? And the floor is yours.
So I know there's a lot of people out there that are actually thinking about giving this a shot. And I guess my best advice to everyone out there would be if you don't actually like what you're currently doing, then why keep doing that? Because you see a lot of people out there actually learning skills that are in very high demand. That actually pay them for the rest of their lives. So my best advice would be get started now, think later, because you only live once. Bang. Surely
Yes,
that's
sir. That was gas. Like you said, you only live once. There's a high supply in, remote work at the moment. And if you're not enjoying your job and you can see that there's another way out there, what's actually stopping you from doing that, right? It's either your self-doubts in a sense, right? And like I said all the time for Lyric, he can do it, why can't you? If Wayne can do it, why can't you? So for anyone watching this and you believe that you can do this as well, like yeah, that's pretty much it. Like you said, you only live once. There's a super high demand in remote work. I talk about it in all my content. There's just a low supply in skilled people to be able to do that. And like, Wayne said, if he can do it, why can't you? I say, if I can do it, why can't you? Lyric says it, if he can do it, why can't you? So the only person that's stopping you is you. That's us for today. I appreciate you, Wayne, jumping on, talking about your journey, talking about, what made you choose ABC and your struggles that you went through to be able to get to in the position that you are today. And there's only going to be more wins from you now in the future, and can't wait to continue working with you closely, bro. But that's us for today. If you like this video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Holy Takeover. Love.